Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with the Orville premiere episode review. Alright, the Orville, a new show on Fox here on Sunday nights. The reason I didn't get this actual review up for the premiere yesterday, that was the plan, right? A day after. But it's kind of busy with the Deuce one on Sunday as well. And I'm doing that show, week to week, so I wanted to get that one out on time. So this one kind of, got pushed back a day. But I'm still doing it. Heard a lot about this show. It was actually fairly well marketed, I'd say. I mean, it was advertised a lot, all over the place, and Seth MacFarlane is a pretty popular guy now. So, and this is basically his show. I mean, I think he writes it, executive produces. I mean, this is basically his thing. And I thought he even advertised it well and everything. So, and it just having his name, obviously, is going to get some viewers as well. That don't even really care what the show's about. They just want to see him. And I wasn't one of those people. I have to be honest, I know Seth MacFarlane, obviously, the Ted movies, but that's about all I know from him. So I'm not a huge fan of his. So, I'm kind of, into the whole show and the whole plot thing. But I feel like I would say maybe even probably a quarter of the people who watched this were probably just mainly fans of him. My initial thoughts, I did watch it on Sunday night, and yeah, I don't know. My initial thoughts were it was kind of underwhelming, to be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. I was expecting more with the way it was marketed. I'm gonna get to this a little bit later as well. But just sort of that was my initial thought. That was kind of the word that came to mind. I think I turned it off, and that's sort of what I said. I'm like, well, that was a little bit underwhelming, right? So that was just kind of my initial thought. But anyways, I will not be doing this show week to week. Unfortunately, I just with the Deuce on Sunday nights, it just and that one's an hour long, and sometimes probably these episodes are going to be over an hour. And by the way, if you tune into the Deuce, please go and watch my review on the channel. It'll be the video before this one, where I did my review for the pilot episode. But anyways, yeah. So, I'm gonna have the Deuce, and those those reviews are a little bit harder, with the longer run times. So I just decided, I would rather just not review this one week to week, especially with my initial thought that it was underwhelming. I don't want to come week to week and if I'm not a huge fan of the show, come and sort of fake it, or the other end of the spectrum and come and say negative things about it every week. So I do want to definitely share my thoughts in the premiere, because I thought it definitely deserved my thoughts and the ratings and everything. I think it definitely deserved it. But I just won't be doing it week to week. So I may come back for the finale, and do a review for that, and then kind of look at the whole season, in a wider view. But if I don't, the only reason is just because I kind of lost interest. So, anyways, yeah. So it'll be like Get Shorty and Narcos. That's sort of the way I'm gonna be doing this. So, anyways, I'm just gonna do a little quick recap of what some stuff we learned this week here on the first episode, and then I'll share my overall thoughts and give this one a rating, and yeah. So anyways, very start, very start, I mean the opening second, we get introduced to this new world, right? And it introduces us, says takes place in the year 2418. So it's about 400 years in the future, I guess, or 401, because it's 2017 right now. So that's interesting. I knew that it was a futurist, based movie, or not movie, TV show. But I didn't know that it would be that far. So that was kind of interesting, to see 2418. I don't think we've seen any movie or TV show that's been that far. I just thought that was really well done. The sort of opening little thing there. I think it was the first minute or so. It looked really realistic. Honestly, I thought they had some great camera shots as well. Some wide angle stuff showing all the spaceships flying around, and just what the world looks like. now in 2418. So I thought that was a really good way to open the show, and I think it really set the tone for what what happened. So then of course we meet Ed Mercer, Seth MacFarlane, the main character, or played by Seth MacFarlane, I should say. And he basically walks in on his wife, cheating on him with this blue alien kind of guy. So that kind of gives us the whoa factor, right off the bat, like, she's sleeping, with an alien guy, like, or what I mean. So yeah, that obviously that's not even close to normal, in our reality here. So it kind of gave us that whoa factor, saying this is what the show's about, right? So the seeing the characters sort of like nonchalant about that it was an alien was kind of made for a little humor as well. So yeah, that was interesting. And then of course we kind of time skip a year later after that sort of scene there at the beginning. And Ed is offered the captain job of a new ship called the Orville. So of course that's the name of the show. So that this is sort of the main basis of the TV show, and that that this is kind of going to be the future of it, right? And it's all based around this spaceship. And so yeah, we kind of learned though that in that year span that we skipped from, he kind of fell off, fell from grace a little bit. He was a top student, and then he always he's been showing up late and a bunch of that stuff. So because his wife cheated on him and they separated. And so yeah, so his boss basically says he's lucky to get this job. And by the way, the boss is a kind of a, I wouldn't say a villain, but kind of a bad guy in the show Power, if any of you watched that. So that's like I couldn't really picture him as the character he's playing in this show, to be honest with you, just because I'm so familiar with that role that he plays on there. But anyways, I thought that was kind of cool that they got him for this. He's a really good actor. So yeah, we find out he's kind of lucky to get this job, and obviously he's happy about it. So then we see Ed's long friend Gordon Malloy, or Malloyd, and so basically they've been friends for a long time. And, Gordon decides to join him on, his crew as the head helmsman, they call him. So that's sort of like a new job description in this new, future. And, of course, then after that, we finally get on this ship, and we meet the rest of the crew. So, we learn some of their abilities, some of these, like the aliens who are on this crew. And it's just really cool the way they brought all the aliens in, but I'll get to that a little bit later as well. But yeah, so we learn some of their abilities. Like the one girl is super strength, and the other guy is a racist or something like that. So that's just kind of obviously that's the humor part of it, but yeah. So but not all the crew are aliens, of course. We meet the black guy, and then the woman as well. So yeah, then they're pretty key parts of it, of the crew as well. So yeah, so definitely we'll have to see how the aliens and the humans kind of work together on this crew. Kind of for the greater good of the ship and for Ed. So yeah, that was interesting that they included that in there. So then Ed's ex-wife becomes his first officer, basically, and of course this is more of the humor aspect. His wife cheated on him, and now she's kind of coming back in the picture and going to be working for him. So yeah, and it also creates the first conflict in the episode as well. And yeah, so and she comes on aboard, and Ed's kind of obviously he's iffy about it. He doesn't really want her there. Still has hard feelings for her, but by the end of the episode, she actually ends up helping the crew, and actually saving them, and yeah, so she ends up being really useful, and yeah, I thought it just connected the scene at the beginning, because for a while there, I was thinking, why did they show that or whatever, but then, of course, we learned that they did that because his ex-wife was coming back, right? So yeah, that was good that they showed that scene at the beginning, and then they connected it all back. Yeah, I think that's sort of that point there. I thought her characters are a really great character too to kind of follow as well. I think she's going to be really dynamic, and of course we learned some stuff at the end about her as well. So I'll get to that in just a second, but yeah, so that was good. So basically, this episode was kind of centered around them, running into their first conflict or their first, big battle. So they fight against, these aliens from this, certain planet, right? And they end up winning the battle. And I thought the fight scenes were both funny and, kind of cool, right? They had laser guns and the way, that they did damage to the aliens and whatever. So that was kind of cool to see that, and the way things fight. I say things because they're aliens too, but the way things fight now in this new world and in this future. So yeah, so that was good. And yeah, it just kind of showed us what we're gonna see week to week, right? So that maybe next week it'll be, some new aliens from another planet. Next week will be, the humans, something like that, right? So there'll just be, new opponents every week, and they're kind of, flying missions and just trying to conquer, space sort of thing, right? And they're just trying to, keep running on their agenda and hopefully, keeping possession of the ship in Ed's sort of, spectrum or perspective, I guess. So yeah, that interesting, definitely. Obviously, not really a show out there that does that, so definitely unique. And yeah, I thought it was a cool way to set it up to kind of show us what to expect, with also showing us sort of the introduction and introducing some characters. So I thought that was pretty impressive. So then, yeah, at the very end, Ed's boss, I forget his name, so that's, why I'm not calling him by name, but his boss and Kelly actually have a conversation, and, we kind of learn that they're working together on something, and that she may have been the only reason that Ed got the job on the Orville, or something like that. So it creates a lot of suspicion, obviously, for the viewers to see, what side is Kelly really playing on here? Is she really there for Ed? Is she have her own agenda right now? So that's, really great way to end the episode, I thought. Kind of a cliffhanger, right? And definitely creates some suspicion to what seemed, like a totally wrapped up episode until that last scene. So I thought that was well done. And yeah, so that's sort of the recap of the episode, sort of the main stuff we learned and what happened. Obviously, I'm not going to go into detail about, the aliens and what happened, right? But yeah, it was definitely interesting. So now I'll share my thoughts and get to my rating. So my overall thoughts of this episode, I kind of just put them all together. Yeah, I didn't really split positives and negatives here, but yeah, you kind of be able to tell, of course, which one's which. But first one is, I thought it was very creative in the storyline, right? I mean, the way this is all written, it's 401 years into the future. I mean, they, just have basically unlimited possibilities in this new world, right? I thought it was really, creative, really well, thought out, because they can literally do anything they want, right? Like, they can say there's aliens from here, and, aliens have, 4 legs, or some humans have 4 legs, or something, right? Like, they can make anything up. And especially, because it's, far from real fiction sort of thing, right? Like, it's nothing really from our world today is in this, except for, like, humans, right? So even their, the way they act is different as well. So yeah, I thought that was really cool, the way it's been written here, that Seth MacFarlane, I guess, has written it, and came up with this. And I think it's great to sustain a show for a while, right? I mean, a lot of shows, they're following real life. There's not as much possibilities as a world 400 years in the future, and they can make up just about anything, any character they want. So I thought that was really cool and very unique as well. You don't you don't really see that at all on TV. So that was good. Sort of a negative was there was less humor than I was expecting. Going into this, what I've heard from it, with advertising and just, other people that I talked to about it, they, the consensus is sort of, that it's going to be like basically just a comedy. There'd be a little bit of plot in here, right? But it'd mainly just be focused on the comedy aspect and, Seth MacFarlane, having a lot of one-liners and stuff like that. That's what he's good at. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit more serious show, actually. I thought, of course, there was a lot of aspects of humor in it. But I thought, the way this premiere was kind of set up is that, there was a lot of serious stuff in this one, like his wife cheating on him, and some serious conversation, high stakes about, him keeping this rocket and whatever. So, yeah, just a little bit more serious and less humor than I thought there would be. I thought, the whole episode would just kind of be, some comedy. Like, all dialogue would kind of just been, shooting, jokes at each other and stuff. But, yeah, it was a little bit more serious. But, I mean, overall, kind of what I expected, right? Like, it wasn't too far from my thoughts about it. And I also thought, some humor that was in it, it seemed kind of forced. And I don't know why. Like, I felt all of Seth MacFarlane's sort of stuff was good, but I felt like the stuff like with Gordon was just like some of it was kind of forced. Like the whole thing, where they asked about, is there a bar on that planet or something? Is there a strip club and stuff? Like, I don't know. I just felt like that was predictable and just like a little forced. Like, it didn't seem natural. Like, they would ask that. So I don't know. I just thought I mentioned that, and the humor itself wasn't that funny to me. I did laugh at a few things, right? But I just thought, yeah, like it wasn't laugh out loud funny or anything like that. So yeah, and that was kind of what I was expecting. So I thought the actors did fairly well. The main cast did especially well, I think. But I think, the doctor from that island was okay. I felt, like, I don't know. I felt like some of the crew members were a little bit lacking. But I mean, Seth MacFarlane obviously did great, and he's the centerpiece of the show, right? So you really just need, some good actors alongside next to him, and this will flourish, right? You don't need, a cast like The Deuce, for example. So yeah, I thought that, acting was fairly well done. There was no, time in the show where I was like, oh, like, that's, he's really bad or whatever, right? Obviously not. But I thought, some of the stuff could have just been better. Like, the humor I felt was the big part of that, where the actors were, it seemed just kind of forced a little. It didn't seem natural. So that's my only critique there. And yeah, I thought it was a good premiere episode, overall. In terms of an episode in general, a little bit less, but a premiere episode, I thought it was good. It got my interest, right? Right from the beginning, right from the opening seconds, right? Like, it's 2,418, like, that just catches your interest right away. That hooks you, to see, like, what's going on. So I thought that was really good. And you need that in premiere, especially when, people check it out and they're like, well, I don't like it, I'm just going to turn it off or whatever. So I think that was really important. But I will say it was overall just underwhelming for me, like, yeah, it caught my interest. I, kind of got me hooked on it, but it was just underwhelming. I thought, the way they hyped up the show and the way Seth MacFarlane, kind of talked about it a little bit in interviews and stuff, and the way he kind of branded it wasn't really how it actually turned out to be. In my opinion, I thought, like I said before, I thought, it'd be a lot more comedy, and I thought it'd be a little bit more serious, and I didn't know the whole, part about the aliens and stuff. That stuff was really never, well, I shouldn't say, because I watched the one trailer, but nothing more. So maybe there was some stuff in there, but yeah, I don't know, just a little underwhelming, for me. The way they talked about it, it was going to be, the new fall drama or whatever, comedy drama, I guess. But for me, in my opinion, I don't think it is. So yeah, I just don't think it lived up to the hype. I think it was good, but I think, the way they advertised the show, the way they hyped it up was just a little bit much for what it turned out to be. But we have to remember that this is just the premiere episode, right? So, the rest of the season may turn out to be really good, and I may have to, eat my words here, right? So, of course, we only have the premiere episode, so that's what I'm judging it on. But yeah, so definitely, that will definitely, could change in the future. And yeah, I thought that it could have explained more of the past. I felt like, some details could have been shared about Ed and, about the world, how, they got all this technology now. So we were kind of just dropped in the situation and, kind of, made us think about and kind of picture how all this occurred, how, Ed's that year went in between that they just totally skipped. So they led, a lot of the stuff for our imagination, which is fine. But I felt like, maybe the first 5 minutes or so, they explain, how, the world has changed. Maybe they do like a 2017 or something and then kind of fast forward, or I don't know, maybe that would have been a little weird. But I felt like, we could have learned some details about Ed, because really all we know about is that he was a good, craft or air, not aircraft, spacecraft, flyer, or captain, I guess. And then his wife cheated on him. He had a bad year, and now he's captain of this Orville. That's really all we know about him, right? Like, we don't know how old he is. We don't know, if he has a family. We don't know, like, we don't know all of that. So I would have liked to see more of that, especially he's a main character, right? I'm supposed to, imagine him and the rest of these characters, and develop feelings for them. Obviously I don't mean like love, but like feel sorry for them when we're supposed to. Get mad at them when they do something wrong, that kind of stuff. And I just felt, without any background on any of these characters, I thought that, it just was kind of harder, right? And also just made this, harder to imagine this new world being the new reality. So I thought, that could have improved. But other than, that was sort of the big part of this premiere episode. The rest of them were kind of just in general about the show. But yeah. So anyways, overall, a little bit underwhelming for me, but definitely, looks good. It's good television and, good entertainment, right? So my rating for this episode is going to be a 4.0 out of 5. So an even 4. Yeah, I basically have touched on everything already. 4 out of 5. I thought, I was going to give it, a little bit lower, but I thought, I can't be so judgmental, on the premiere episode here. So, and this rating kind of reflects, the show in general a little bit, right? Not just this episode. So yeah, so I thought, 4 is pretty reasonable. And that's sort of my own rating as well, right? That's not, all, that's not just the general consensus, of course, right? So that's sort of how I felt about it. And like I said, I did the Deuce review, yesterday, and definitely, obviously, so many things come into account in that. It's not an HBO, not as much money's put into it. The acting isn't as good, right? All that, obviously, but I just felt, in terms of the writing and the way the premiere episode was given to us, I felt like, it's, they're pretty far away. So, yeah, but it's hard to compare, like I said, so I shouldn't do that. But, I just thought that's an example. So, favorite character for this one, of course, Ed Mercer. He's, the main character of this one, played by Seth MacFarlane. And yeah, I like his character, don't get me wrong. I just would have liked to see some more past explained about him. But I think he's definitely going to be a dynamic character, and I think he kind of was like the straight guy in this, sort of the good guy, the moral, guy in this. But I think, as the season goes on, I think he's going to develop some tendencies here, and he's going to be, kind of a funny guy who kind of lives on the edge. So that's just the sort of way Seth MacFarlane plays his roles usually. So that's what I like to see. But anyways, and that's just sort of how I feel where he's going to go. But yeah, anyways, so that'll just about do it for my review of the Orville. Like I said, I won't be doing these week to week. So you can come back, and I think there's 10 episodes this season, right? So maybe I think in 10 weeks or so, I may come back and do, kind of the, whole season, review. Just kind of touch on things I liked, some I didn't, and kind of just get my overall opinion on it. So yeah, if you want to come back for that, be sure to subscribe so you can see that when it comes out. And yeah, I think that's about it. Definitely gonna be tuning in the next couple episodes. Not sure if I'm in it for the long haul quite yet. But maybe the next couple will really get me hooked, and I'll be on it. I don't know. I can't say for now. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, thanks for the support lately on my videos. Really, really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, comment down below also what your thoughts of the premiere was. I really want to get some other opinions on this. I have talked to a couple of friends who watched it, and they kind of had similar opinions. So I'm wondering if that's sort of the general, kind of, thought about this show. Maybe, maybe not. So, anyways, please leave a comment what you thought. But, anyways, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later for, or maybe later, I guess, for the Orville season 1 sort of recap video. See you guys then.